In today's video, I'm going to be going over how to heal others and not feel drained. I'm excited to share with you these really deep, beautiful secrets and practices, amazing rituals that you can use whenever you feel that family members, friends, people at work, or maybe even clients tend to drain you, so then you don't have to feel drained or exhausted. First thing that I love to do, and that is sun gazing. The power of the sun is so powerful. Father Sun really allows us to receive heat. Without the sun, we are not living in this earth, right? And the medicine the sun provides is also being able to clear our chakras. And we see this with the fire element as well. There are various practices you can do with the fire spirit that I can definitely do another video about that. And if you'd like me to do a video on how to clear your chakras and heal or release any energy that is draining you through fire, put a fire emoji down below and let me know. So how you do this is you want to do this at sunrise and sunset for sun gazing. And you're basically going to be facing the sun, allowing the sun to penetrate right in your forehead, and you're going to open your eyes. During this time, the sun is perfect. It's actually not going to damage the eyes as well, but it will clear and cleanse your pineal gland. It will allow you to clear your whole body with any energy that you're taking on and your auric and light body. So through this sun, you can do a little prayer and ask the sun, hey, can you just release and cleanse me here? And as you close your eyes, you might even notice a few moments as you blink that your vision, your sight is even more brighter. So it actually helps a lot for those of you who are seers that have that gift. It can help with your clairaudience, all the clairs. It can enhance your gifts. And of course, it can prevent any draining energy to be completely removed and released. The next way and tip that I love to use to support me to hold space for others in my healing practices as a medicine woman and not feel drained is actually by creating a golden bubble. Some of you might have heard of this before, but there was one specific thing that I was not doing that really made a big effect. And for some people, they might have been taught by their Reiki master or teachers, flowers around them, and envisioning or feeling this egg around them, a circle of golden light, white light, pink light, green light, a rainbow. And this, calling this, circle of light to bring protection, cleansing, and to support you as you anchor and hold space for others or receive others' energy as well. So one thing that people don't talk about is checking the auric field. So of course, if you're going into a situation or a space, for example, I had a client the other day that was going through a lot of ancestral burdens, and it was really intense. And I had to hold in my anchor and really ground in the process. And this bubble helped me not take on the ancestral karma that this client was taking and releasing from this past life and from their ancestors. And what I did periodically is I actually closed my eyes and I checked on the bubble, and I allowed myself to use my breath to enhance the brightness of the bubble. So again, just like your auric field, it's really important to maintain the hygiene of this bubble, which means that as you close your eyes and you invite this golden light to be around you and calling in protection, calling in healing, calling in groundingness, you also want to ensure that at the end of a session of holding space for someone, or after going out to a social gathering or whatever may have you, or family event, as you take a moment, taking 3 breaths to close your eyes and check into that field. If you feel that the golden light is dimmer, or maybe it's more of a paler color, or doesn't feel as strong, using your breath with 3 breaths, breathing in through the nose, exhaling out through the nose for 6 counts both ways, inhaling and exhaling. And as you inhale, seeing the golden light expand more, and as you exhale, allowing that golden light to strengthen. And this will just allow you to, 1, make sure you're not taking anyone's energy with you home, and 2, ensure that you are able to have the protection of the earth and the golden light, just like the sun, to support you in your process as you hold space for others and you interact with other people's energies. So the next tip of how to heal others and not to feel drained, this one is a maintenance thing. All of these practices are, but specifically specifically boundaries. And the question you have to ask yourself if you find yourself constantly drained is, what are the shadows that I hold within my story, my soul, this life, that are around boundaries? So I'll give you an example for myself. For me, growing up as a little girl, I was a daddy's girl. Still, I am a daddy's girl. And I constantly wanted the love from my dad. And he really wanted a boy. Like, he wanted a boy. He thought that having a boy would be easier. And there was a part of my little child that was grieving that, could he accept me as a woman? Could he accept me as the woman that I am, to still do sports, to just be a child, right? Or, what are the fears he had around this world and me being a woman and maturing as well in my teens and growing into puberty and all of that. So what I noticed when I started my journey is, when I worked with men, there was almost like this sense of like cuddling that would come up. And it was almost like my issues, my shadow around my father, and like wanting his love was leaking into the energy of holding space from an unconditional place, and from a space that is, you are supporting someone and it's up to them to heal, right? We're not here to take people's power away. When someone steps into a space to be healed, to receive guidance from you, it is their choice to step into that and heal themselves. You are simply a space holder. This is something I teach with my students all the time, about learning how to hold space from a very genuine, very authentic place of sovereignty, not a space from shadow. Another example as well is, I noticed that women that were really fiery and very, expressive, in the beginning of my journey, I would get triggered by them. And I would notice that my reflective listening was kind of unfiltered, and it was leaking into my story. And I wasn't really holding space, but rather taking up space. So again, my boundaries of me not being able to create this safe container and space for them to integrate, because of these shadows of my parents, made a huge impact. Right? And the last one, this is really common with boundaries, especially for space holders. If you're feeling drained, or you hold space for family members, friends, this is for anyone really, is that you find yourself constantly in a space where you're holding a session, say an hour session, and you go over 30 minutes, you go over 20 minutes, or your clients are coming in late. These are signs that your boundaries are probably, there's something to look at, right? My teacher always told me that something isn't in our field if it's not alive within us, if it's not on our t-shirt of our life story. So if for some reason you're sitting here, you're saying, my boundaries are great, but you still find people are trespassing your time, your space, that is something to look at. What are the shadow imprints I have around space, around taking up space, around saying no and yes? And this is something I go over in my Earth Dharma Healers training. If you're interested in learning the 3 parts that we go into in detail of the villain, the savior, and also the victim, and how we are all these 3 parts, right? Savior is the people pleaser. Villain is the person that, seems to avoid situations as a way to protect others, because they think that their energy